In the last lesson, we did a still life using continuous tone shading. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you a couple different ways to shade. You'll learn how to hatch, crosshatch, stipple, and scribble. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to divide your paper with 3 lines, about equal width apart. Put one here, one here, and one here. So this is going to create 4 sections on my paper. Once you have those done, I want you to do a row of cubes here, just like this. Okay, and go all the way down and just repeat that. Okay, next to it, I want you to do a circle. And then in the last area, we're going to do cylinders. So the first one we're going to do is called the hatch. And all it is straight lines. Now, I'm going to put the label over here. Because our light is coming from this way, our shadow is going to be this way. So if you wanted to, you could have done your lines going across rather than up and down like I did. Okay, so for the sphere, you're going to get a light here. I'm going to make my lines curve around with this so that it looks more three-dimensional. So the light's going to hit here. So this little thing I'm drawing is just to remind me of the direction of the light. And I just did that way too light, too dark. So you want that line to be really light. And we're just going to put a series of light lines spaced out around in this kind of curvy shape. Okay, then I'm going to go back and down here. So your darkest spot is going to be like here, maybe a little bit lower to here. So it will be basically light, gradually get darker with a band of darkness right about here, and then get light again. So I'm going to fill this in, lines very close together, kind of doing this curvy shape. And then I'm going to gradually go out lighter. And then lighten it up down here. And then because our light is going this way, we'll get a little bit of a shadow here. And then this would be darker where it meets the ground, and then go out lighter. So try and get it to look more like a gradient. I don't think that turned out really good, so I'm going to do it again. And I'm just going to try doing my lines lighter. And then working up to the darker. That one came out so much better. Again, my shadow is going, because I'm doing it in the same direction, it's going to go in that same direction. And it's just going to be a little bit darker where it meets the ground, and then lighten up. Moving on to the cylinder shape. Again, your light is coming from the same direction, so it's going to be nice and light up top. You're going to have a light area over here. And then it's going to gradually get darker until right about here. It's super dark. And then it will lighten up again. Okay, I'm just going to turn my notebook so that it goes more with my hand. You can make these lines straight, or you can make them slightly curved. I think I'm going to make mine slightly curved. And again, we're going to start out really light, really far apart. And then I'm going to come back in here in this area and just go a little darker. And then bring it out so that it's a little, it kind of fades into this darker area. And then darken this one. This side should be darker than this side, but not as dark as here. I use some of these techniques a lot when I do Zentangles. And then I'm just going to add some to the top so there's some, it's not super white, it's not paper white. But I don't want it to be too dark because the light is hitting there and that is the lightest spot. So this is called hatch, where you put your lines in one direction. The next one that we're going to do is called crosshatch. This cube down here, we're going to do the exact same thing we did up here. We're going to go lightly across. Notice that my lines aren't perfect. I have shaky hands, and I think you can see that in the lines. Now, I'm not going to go super dark just yet because so right now we've just hatched this cube. The way that we make it cross-hatch is to do lines in the other direction. So we first went parallel with this line and this line and this line. Now we're going to go parallel with this line and this line. So it would be this line and this line on the side. I'm going to start with my darkest and go across. And then here, come across. And then up here, just wide apart. Now, if you needed to get something super dark, you would go in diagonals then. Okay? So I might add, so again, like it would be lighter here because we're using the same light direction. So our light's going to come from here. So it might be darker over here. And then also this little lip would be a little darker. And notice that they're not all the same length. If I make them all the same length, then we're saying that that shadow is super long. It's just a little bit darker right here. It's not, and I probably did that too dark. Okay, so on the sphere, I'm going to do kind of the same thing. I'm going to do those curvy lines. And again, my light source. When you're new, it's helpful. You could do it much lighter than I am, but this is just like sketchy stuff to show where your light source is coming from. I'm going to lighten that line up because I don't want it to be so dark. Just going to do first my hatch lines. And then they're going to get closer together. Same as, this is a better example. Same as this example, how there's a band of darkness towards the middle. And then it gradually gets lighter. Okay, so now to make this crosshatch, we're going to go in the opposite direction, at more of a diagonal. Oh, I forgot to bring my lines up to here. Now I'm just going to come back through a little darker here. And I might come in the other direction. And this can be loose. It doesn't have to be so controlled. So I think this is just not quite as good as it could be, so I'm just going to try it again. I'm going to try this one with straight lines and see if that doesn't help me out. I said straight lines and they're already curving because my mind recognizes that this is a sphere and it should be sphere shaped. So just keep at it and try and get more of a smooth transition like we did here. I'm going to put the shadow in. Again, it would be slightly darker. And then move out to lighter. And so you can combine cross-hatch and hatch. A lot of times I will cross right underneath something and then just let the hatch come out for the rest of the shadow. Oh, I just realized I didn't do this one. So again, I'm going to cross-hatch right under, but then let the shadow just kind of fade off. So I'm definitely much better at this when I use pen. All right, moving on to the cylinder. I'm just going to darken up these lines a little bit and smooth them out. Again, the same as up here. You're going to have a darker area here. It's going to be lighter here and super light up top, and then we'll lighten towards the side. I'm going to use straight lines for this. And then again with this shape, you would have a little bit of shadow around this lip. And sometimes it helps to move your sketchbook around or your paper around. So I am just kind of loosely going over so that I get some definition over here, some value over here. And I don't want that to be such a straight line. That was a poor choice on my part. But we're working in pencil, so you can always erase. And then I'm just going to fill in some values here so that it lightens up. If I were doing this for my project, I would do this one again, just because I think that I could do this better. So if this is your first time ever doing this, again, don't expect to be perfect your first time. Practice. So this next one is called stippling. And stippling is where you shade using dots of your pencil. So the trick here, you don't want to pick your pencil up and go really far up. You just want to pick it up and go. And the further the dots are spaced, the lighter your value appears. The lighter your dots, the lighter your value. This does look really good when you do this in ink. It can look really, really good. It's also oftentimes used in tattoos. All right, so I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to speed up the video so you don't have to sit here and watch it. All right, now I'm going to work on this darker side, and you're going to see it come really dark here and through here and get lighter towards the bottom in this edge. I don't know about you, but my hand is killing. So see how that darkness is starting to build up? The other thing you can do is bigger dots. It takes a little bit more time, but it builds the darkness up quicker. So now after comparing this side with this side, that I think there are areas on here that need to be darkened up a little bit. So we're going to do the circle it too. So again, there's that band of darkness right here because our light source is coming this way, and then it lightens up again at the bottom. So I'm going to start in the darker area. So I'm using larger dots with the smaller dot technique. Okay, now I'm just going to start blending out the darkness. Now onto the cylinder. Same thing, you're going to have this dark area here, and then it's going to be lighter and lighter. The stippling definitely goes faster if you don't have a sharp pencil. All right, and this last one is scribble. And your lines will look something like this. And you're just kind of scribbling in, okay? So same concept. The closer together your scribbles are, the darker your value is. The further away your scribbles are, the lighter. So, and the harder you hold your pencil, the darker your scribbles will be. Okay, so we're going to go just really light scribbles. Just add some value to the top. Again, light source is coming from here, so this is going to be your lightest. This is going to be your darkest, and then this will get a little bit lighter. I'm going to start actually on my darker one. Mine got a little squiggly because of the scribble, so I just did a straight line to darken that up. We didn't do our stippling shadows. That's okay. Okay, so with the circle, again, you're going to have that band in the middle. And it's up to you if you want to make your scribbles sharp and curvy. They're just scribbles, it doesn't matter. The goal is to get more of a gradient type. Okay, so you're just going to scribble in. You're going to keep that band here. Okay, same thing here. We're going to scribble. We are going to have a darker band here. I'm going to keep it light and then try and go darker towards that band area. And so one of the things I'm doing when I'm doing this is not only am I pressing a little bit harder, but I'm making my scribbles smaller. Okay, so once you have this done, I want you to take a picture of it, nice and flat. See how this video is nice and flat? That's what I want. It's well lit so that you can see it. Take a picture of this and add this to the assignment.
For the next part of the assignment, you are going to set up a still life. I want this still life to be able to be in place for 2 days. So don't use your Dunkin' Donuts disposable cup or your earbuds or anything like that. If you're in the classroom, you can use whatever's in the classroom. If you're at home, try and make it things that you aren't going to use for at least 2 days. And do your still life in a place where you can keep the still life there for 2 days. The first part of the assignment is going to be the conceptual drawings. We are going to go to a new page in our sketchbook and we are going to lay out those 9 boxes so that we can create concept sketches of our still life from different views.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out my rectangles. I'm going to start out with pencil, nice and light. Again, you're going to do 9 of these. So my still life seems more horizontal to me than vertical, so I'm going to do mine more horizontal this time around. Okay, that looks more like a square. When you do your larger still life, I don't want you working from your picture. I want you working from the object. So make sure that you're not using disposable cups that have to be thrown away or dirty cups or anything like that. Okay, so this is the area I'm not going to use. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to block in the first item. So I'm just going to go in, I'm going to change my position each time, and then I'm going to choose the one that I like. Once I have all 9 of these filled out, I'm then again going to take a nice flat, well-lit photo. When I'm done with all 9 and I've chosen the one, make sure that your still life can be in the same place. Take a picture of the angle that you are going to work on. Add that to the assignment. Okay, now you're going to choose the one that you're going to work on, and then you're going to create that border. And you're going to lay out the still life larger. Okay. Okay, once I have it blocked in, I'm going to take a picture of it, add it to the assignment, and then I'm going to go back in and using the lighting that's there, I'm going to do one of the techniques, either cross-hatching, stippling, scribbling, hatch, to shade this. So, for example, when I'm looking at this piece, it's kind of a curved top, and there's this band of light here, but then it's really dark underneath. So if I'm using cross-hatch, I'm going to come in and cross-hatch for my shading. You can use stippling, any of the 4 techniques we learned earlier. When you're done with the shading, you're going to take a picture and nice like this and turn it in to the assignment.